Hi, my name is Kuty Shalev, and I'm the CEO of Clevertech. The air train here delivers 10,000 people, our people mover that delivers 10,000 people a day in New York and the JFK Port Authority. And you think about the Port Authority, you don't think lean and you don't think startup. But they have some really neat technology. They have trains that are driven by computers, no human beings. Their computer systems there are 50 feet of computer monitors in order to figure out how to move the train every single day. But when you look outside the train, they have a whiteboard that manages who is trained to get on the train, who is it that is going to deal with the discrepancies, who's going to know which train is going to be on the track. It's all managed on a whiteboard. And they're not interested in doing that. They wanted to move away from that. They would want to get rid of the everyday erasing of the whiteboard and losing all that information. And they had a heady vision for what that was going to look like. They wanted to have a digital rendering of the track. They wanted one-click access to all of their maintenance manuals. They wanted it to be wireless, paperless, and work even if there's no internet. And typically, if they have that kind of project, then the requirements documents are going to look like this. Right? And it would take 6 months just to write it up, let alone actually deliver it. And so what we suggested was a lean process, build a minimum viable product. And they went for it, and which was pretty amazing. And the real question that I was trying to figure out was, how is it that we actually convinced them to try this new method? And what I think the reason is because we promised speed. Speed wins. And what we said to them was that in 1 week, they would actually start to see functionality that they could use. And in 90 days, they would have an MVP that would take care of their most important features. And that got them very excited, and they said yes. But of course, speed is wonderful. And if you're running, that's great, but are you going in the right direction? And what we did there is we gathered all the stakeholders into the room, and we said, tell us what you want. Let's learn. Let's actually spend the time to learn and figure out what it is that we're going to do here. And that's what we got, right? Tons and tons of feature requests. Everybody had their pet thing that they wanted, and this was great. You know why? Because now they owned it. They felt that they had a piece of it. It was wonderful. But it causes a problem. What are you going to do when you have a timeline and you've got the pressure? And it is a blessing in disguise, and this is very, very important. The limitations and the constraints create the possibility of success. By having this limited time frame, it forces a decision. And we all know how we work when we have no time. We have an instinct. We say, this is what we need. We must go in this direction. And that's exactly what we did. And it was great. And then we decided, what's the very first thing we're going to do? Well, it better be a tasty bite. It better be something that you can use right away and see that it's going to help you. And that's what we attempted to do. We focused on those issues as the most important ones. And I'll give you a little hack here that you can use yourself. It's create an auction. And what does that mean? We created an auction by meeting in the smallest conference room that we could find. Every week we had new features. Every week more people wanted to come in. We had standing room only. It was exciting. Everybody wanted to be part of it. You've got to build that excitement. We would walk in with tablets that you can touch, that you could feel, that you could actually take out to the track. And they were able to then involve all of their senses in utilizing this new technology. They would go out to the track, they would take pictures, they would be able to write on the pictures, they would take videos, they would then be able to synchronize it back when they came back into the office. They would see that the problems that they thought that they would have when there's no internet was actually not a problem. They were able to come back and complain about the UI. We'd be able to fix it the very next week. This is the type of process that would allow us to create the lean methodology, to be able to learn, to be able to build, to be able to measure, and iterate across the process. And all this code that we created this in HTML5, Backbone.js. We used SQLite in order to get local storage. And all this stuff, we decided to open source as much as we could. It's available for you. You can go to GitHub. You can go to yebooster.clevertech.biz. You can go ahead and download those. You can see our JSON grids, our UI interfaces, even some of the offline storage capability that we created to make it available for your projects. Go ahead and use them. I hope that they're able to be successful for you as they were for us. Thank you so much. My name is Kuty Shalev, Clevertech.biz.